Welcome back to Fox 59 Morning News. It's 8:21. Last night, President Trump formally accepted the Republican nomination in his bid for re-election. He talked about his achievements since his inauguration, making his case for voters to give him another 4 years in the White House. His speech was the grand finale for the four-day Republican National Convention. And joining us live from Carmel to talk more about it and get his reaction, Adam Wren, a writer for Indianapolis Monthly and Politico. Adam, good morning. We talked during the DNC last week, looking ahead to what would be this week with the president. What were your sort of immediate takeaways watching it all unfold?
Sure. Well, it was quite the tableau last night on the White House lawn. The president potentially breaking the Hatch Act, which prevents people from using government resources to campaign. But really, if you zoom out, the week was all about who's going to control the party in 2024. Is it someone like Vice President Mike Pence, who's more of an establishment figure, or is it someone like one of the Trump family members who were featured this week, Ivanka Trump, a much more polished version of the GOP, or someone like Don Jr., his son, who channels sort of the energy and angst of the base. So I think that was one of the real subtext stories happening this week.
I know there's been a lot of discussion about the Hatch Act there, but let's talk about just the drama of the evening there. It was pretty stirring to see. Just from the White House lawn, the flags, the lights. There was song. The family members were there, and how about this, Adam? An audience, an estimated 1,500 people there. Different from when we saw Joe Biden give his acceptance speech. What do you make of the contrast here? Kind of an example of the difference in the two men.
That's right, Ray. There couldn't be a starker contrast. We saw 1,500 people on the White House lawn, most of them maskless. We saw the 82-year-old Secretary of Commerce, Wilbur Ross, wearing no mask. God forbid anybody gets sick from this event, but it was quite the scene. President Trump at heart is a television producer, and he produced what anybody would call an amazing event last night, regardless of partisan. It was quite the spectacle. There were fireworks afterwards that spelled out Trump 2020. You really saw a contrast, much more understated from Joe Biden. Joe Biden talking much more about the coronavirus, empathizing with the country. President Trump did make news last night saying that he was going to be buying 150 million rapid tests, coronavirus tests for people, that would get them results in as little as 15 minutes. So whatever side of the aisle you're on, that's a really important development for the country.
What were the messages that you thought the president brought forth to try to make the case to voters who are still at this point undecided, if in fact, honestly, there are any? What did he need to say to them, and was he effective?
He really made a sharp argument. He said essentially that Joe Biden is a Trojan horse for socialists that will come and take over the country, take over the suburbs. Places like here in Carmel, Indiana will be no more, according to him. But he did make an argument that the economy can be roaring again if we elect him. He's in a difficult place because he's just essentially saying, what you see now under my presidency, is not my fault. It's the fault of Democratic mayors. It's the fault of the coronavirus, and I can truly lead you back to American greatness. So that's really sort of the argument that we heard from him last night.
All right, so now that we have both conventions behind us, looking ahead to November and the way it's all going to unfold, what are the things that you will be paying particular attention to as the campaign really kicks into high gear now?
Yeah, well, the race really comes down to the Midwest, places like Pennsylvania, places like Wisconsin. I expect the president to be spending a lot of time in those states, and I expect Vice President Pence to be spending a lot of time in those states as well, essentially, running for governor of Wisconsin, running for governor of Pennsylvania. And so I really think that, it'll be a quite divisive next few months. And I think on television, it'll be hard to get away from political commercials, whether at the national or state level. But I'm also interested on how Trump's ratings affect races here in Indiana. The 5th district, where many of the viewers are living today. That's going to be a huge congressional race and can decide who controls the Congress in November.
All right, 2 months for us all to live through this. Adam, great to talk with you. We appreciate your perspective, and have a great weekend.
Good to be with you, Ray.
All right, take care. Time